All righty. So here's the big question. Can you actually live or retire comfortably in Mexico on just, let's say, $1,200 a month, or even 1,500 or $1,700 a month? 1,700 is the average Social Security check according to the Social Security Administration. I've seen comments, I've seen the debates, I've seen the doubts, and in this video, we're going to kind of dive deep into the reality of budget living south of the border. We'll break down costs, explore different lifestyles that may or may not make this possible. And I'll even share some of my own experiences, the good, the challenging, and the absolute beauty of living in Mexico. So stick around to find out if your Mexican dream retirement is within reach. So the thing that started this conversation, I was again in the Mexican expat groups, came across a question that someone posted, and here it is. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up so that as I read it, you can see it right alongside. Again, a lot of folks are living very uh, on very little income, and they're trying to stretch their monies. So this person here says, so I may need to rethink about where I can financially live comfortably. Originally, San Miguel de Allende, but this is looking like it may put me outside my price range for all monthly expenses. I would love to stay under $1,200 a month as a single person. Would love any and all suggestions. I was drawn to the above mentioned area because it would appear that I really don't need an air conditioner, and it wasn't extremely hot with high humidity. I don't mind the heat and I love the beach, but high humidity is a whole different animal. Thank you in advance for your suggestions. I'm planning a trip to Mexico, but I wanted to narrow it down to one area so I can get the full feel of the place. See, this is great because this individual is doing the research. She's asking questions. She joined various different Facebook groups as it relates to people that are actively living in Mexico. What better way to find out if people are actually living on 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 a month than by asking them? And so you're going to be surprised at some of the answers that you see here. So stick around because, hey, they're going to give you some tips on how to make this possible for yourself. So I'm going to start with this person here. Her name is Leanne. She says, I've lived in Mexico for over 16 years, and I've always lived on less than $1,200 a month. We're talking US dollars. It is very, very doable. I'm not sure why you're saying that in San Miguel, you would be surpassing that price. Don't just look at the touristy neighborhoods. As long as it's decent and safe, that's all you need. It's always going to cost more wherever a lot of foreigners live. I've never lived in heavily populated foreigner neighborhoods, and I've been completely fine. Focus on shopping at the mercados, which will cut the cost on your groceries. I've lived in San Miguel years ago, but not close to downtown and not populated by a bunch of foreigners. And I was paying $300 for a 3-bedroom house, US dollars, 300. So I definitely say look into different neighborhoods in each city you're looking into. Merida is super cheap, but that heat is way too much, and lots of money would go into air conditioning. I'm moving to Cancun in the summer, and I will be closer to the outskirts, but I'll also be paying $450 a month for a 2-bedroom house. If I was going to rent right downtown or in a touristy area, it would be double or triple that. I personally love San Cristobal de las Casas and Chiapas. It's a lot cheaper than many places in Mexico and with lots of tourists, although I haven't been there in quite some time. I like the weather as well, although rainy season hits super hard there. And if you want cheap and beach, Oaxaca is a great idea. It can get really hot, but you can live by the beach and not have to shell out a lot of money. So let's break this down a little bit. She made some very good, interesting points. And I like the fact that she said Merida is super cheap, while everybody else is saying it's super high, it's out of range, it's unaffordable, prices are going high, and they are, but it depends on how you live. One of the things she said is don't just look at the touristy neighborhoods. Now, listen, wherever the touristy neighborhoods are, where everything is all fancy and modern and not the typical, authentic, typical Mexican style homes, everything gonna cost more. New construction, new areas, up and coming areas, you're gonna pay a lot of money. Like she said, you can easily pay 2 to 3 times more in rent just by being in one of these areas. And what she said, hey, I lived outside these areas. I lived where the locals live, just the regular neighborhoods. They're safe. And you got to get specific. Now, I've shown videos of what traditional neighborhoods look like. And unfortunately, most foreigners, when they show up, they like, no, I don't want to live over there. It looks run down. It don't look safe. The buildings are kind of ragged and dusty and dirty and old. Well, let me tell you something. I know particularly here for like Merida, we deal with extreme heat, extreme humidity. We have rainy season for many months out the year, for a few months out the year. And so these buildings, they take a pretty brutal beating. Now, and that's just looking at the outside structure of some of these homes. They can look a little ragged, and it's expensive to upkeep the outside because of the extreme weather. So it doesn't, for many folks, they're like, I'm not gonna keep painting this thing, and then 4 months later it's back dirty because of the salt water air all messing it up. So, but it's different here. You can't look at the exterior per se of the buildings and judge the neighborhood, because many of these homes, while the outside may look a little rough, the insides are very, very beautiful, very comfortable. We're talking many homes have marble flooring, and not just marble, but all the other types of material. The buildings here are made out of concrete. We live by the ocean. So they're not building wooden homes where the wood can rot right away, and the wind or hurricane winds or whatever, or just strong winds blow the house away. So things are just built different. The plus side is these homes be standing up a couple of 100 years later, and they're solid. The structure is solid. And like I say, once you get inside of some of these homes, it's beautiful, beautiful flooring, beautiful countertops, beautiful homes. You got to get into some of these homes and see for yourself. Like I said, I've shown several videos on my website many times, and folks are like, oh my God. But again, you can't judge it by how you judge things in the States. The neighbors, particularly in Merida, are very safe, very safe. You got folks in the States living in neighborhoods that look decent, but is unsafe. People getting punched in the face, people shooting, drive-bys, robbings, muggings. It's not safe to go outside. Kids can't go out there and play. But in these neighborhoods where you look at it and be like, oh, that looks a little sketchy, kids outside playing 7 days a week, walking the street, women out here walking them, exercising, running at 10, 11 o'clock at night by themselves, completely safe. Getting up early in the morning, jogging, walking their pets, kids walking to school, nobody bothering them. It's safe. So don't judge anything based on the way it looks. The touristy neighborhoods, the fancy buildings and all that, it comes at a cost. So if you're trying to stay within a certain budget, stay out of those touristy neighborhoods. Your costs can come down significantly less. I showed the house of an apartment this lady was living in for $300 a month. And some folk were looking outside the area and they're like, oh, that look a little sketchy. But when I talked to her, she's like, hey, Cartez, safe, it's very safe neighborhood. I walk around all hours of the night and all hours of the day. I go up and down the street, going to the store, I go to the market, I go get my laundry done. I pick up honey, I pick up drinks, I go to the market, get fruits and vegetables, and not once have I ever felt unsafe. So again, if your goal is to live within a certain budget, hey, look into some of these other neighborhoods. Again, very safe. Over 1 million people live here, particularly in Merida. You know what I mean? So again, that's your goal. Make sure the place is safe. What else did she say? Focus on shopping at the markets. Stay out of the grocery stores. Go down the road. See your local butcher. You can still get the fresh cut meats, and the meat's probably going to be fresher than they are at the grocery store because you're getting it straight from the butcher. You get to pick your cuts. You get as little, as much as you want. You only want a quarter kilo. You can get a quarter kilo. I mean, if you want quarter thighs by the piece, hey, just give me 3 pieces of quarter thighs. You can go to the butcher every day and just pick up a quarter thigh or whatever you want to get. Beef, chicken, pork, all of that. And fruits and vegetables, again, it's going to be significantly less by going to the market. So you got to do what the locals do. Shop where the locals shop. And you will be able to live. Can you live on that 1,200? Absolutely. I've gotten we worked with several families whose income is right at $1,100 a month. Their pension, $1,100 a month. And they're living on that. And they actually have money left over. But they were strategic. They say, hey, Cartel, put me in the area way out here where I can live out here. So one, I'm not paying too much rent. 2, I'm not tempted to go at these fancy restaurants and shop all day because they didn't have a car. I'm forced to stay within my neighborhood and community and do commerce in my neighborhood. And they're able to save money. They take the bus versus Uber, because Uber could be $3, $3 to go somewhere, which if you got decent income, the $3 is nothing, especially when you're comparing the $3 ride to a $20 ride in the States. $3 sounds really good. But if you're on a tight budget, why not take the bus for 40 cents? Because again, if you're on a tight budget, $3 Uber ride there and the $3 Uber ride back is $6 versus 80 cents, 40 cents there, 40 cents back on the bus. You do that 10 times a month. I mean, you got $60 in the Uber, 80 cents, you got $8. If I'm doing the math, $8 a month. If you did that 10 times a month, you only out $8 versus $60. So the money's add up. The locals take the bus. That's what they do. You know what I mean? Now, if they got some important business and got to be somewhere at a certain time, and they get on that bus, they get up and they plan the route. The buses have routes. They have apps. You can download the apps. You know when the buses are coming. They're plentiful. They're running on time. You're going to have to adjust and adapt your lifestyle to be able to live on that 1,200. But it's very doable. Very doable. This and one of the reasons this young lady here was like, hey, I want to look at San Miguel, because based on doing her research, I guess she's read somewhere that she wouldn't need to be running air conditioning, which is a cost. So she's thinking this through. She's like, okay, I want to be in a place where I don't have to be worried about running air conditioning, because that can eat up $100 or $200 a month out of your budget. But if you choose to be in an area where you don't have to pay that at all, or very little electricity, that keeps more money in your pocket. Merida, it gets extremely hot. You can expect to be paying a higher electricity bill here in this region versus other areas of the country. And so, like she said, Merida is super cheap. That's what she says. And it is, if you're willing to live outside of these touristy areas and live outside of these areas where foreigners tend to hang out and live. There are plenty of places in Merida where you can get an apartment or even a home for $250 a month, $300 a month, $400 a month. Now, it may not look aesthetically appealing or appeasing to many of you, but before you judge it, at least go look at it. Go on the inside and see some of these houses. Now, some of them gonna be pretty run down. That's just no getting around that. Yeah, some of them look like hell, but you do the lead work. Go look at places. Go look at houses. Go look at apartments. Go look at townhomes. Get out there and look. Don't just judge it. Go online. You got Facebook Marketplace. You can, most of the rental transactions happen on Marketplace. Other thing you can do, ride around neighborhoods or walk around neighborhoods looking at for rent signs. You know, do the research, find out the safe neighborhoods, and then just ride around those neighborhoods and look for rental signs. You know what I mean? There's an area down here called Micro Plaza. We showed the house. I don't think I posted that video. We showed the house. I videoed the house. I'm gonna go back and look. $200 a month. It was an apartment, and it included the electricity. It was included in the rent. Now it's small. It's not big. It's not grandiose. It's a small apartment, 1 or 2 people. But if your income is $1,300 a month and your rent is $200, you got $1,100 left and no electric bill. You can do some stuff with that extra $1,100. You could do a whole lot more with that money than you can in the United States. That's what I'm saying. So yes, Merida is cheap. I mean, there's a whole southern part of the city, the southeast side of the city, southwest side of the city, and south side of the city that foreigners just don't go live. Not because it's unsafe. I'm there all the time. I showed some houses there the other day where they were selling the house for $60,000, brand new, 2-bedroom home, 2-story house. But foreigners, they get in these groups, these Facebook groups, and they listen to each other. Oh, you don't want to live over there. And the folks saying you don't want to live over there ain't ever been over there, number one, because they too bougie and they want to live amongst their friends and they want to live like Americans. They want to live like it was back at home. But I promise you, in the southern side of the city, the southeast side of the city, the southwest side of the city, you're going to have a more authentic experience. You're going to learn Spanish faster because you're going to be forced to learn it because ain't nobody running around there speaking too much English. So you're going to be immersed. But people still going to love on you. They're going to be kind. They're going to be patient, probably more patient than they are here in the northern part of the city where a lot of foreigners are. They're going to be, you're going to be able to make friends, build relationships in those sides of the cities. And like I said, I think your experience is going to be even better amongst the locals, living amongst the locals in those areas. And financially, you're going to be better off if you're on a tight budget. So let me move on to some of the other comments, because there's some things you need to be aware of when you're considering making a move and retiring here to Mexico on a very tight income. So this other person say, same thing. I would stay out of tourist expat areas. They're pretty pricey. We decided on a small mountain community, temperament, no humidity. I don't know about rent prices as we live in a van. These folks live in a van, but there aren't any expats here except us and one other Canadian. Let's look at that some more. Just seeing if they named the place. Another person says, have you priced out health insurance? That's going to take a bite out of your budget. So again, y'all need to look. And so this person says, no, I haven't. Waiting on my moving to Mexico Bible, and I don't know where to start. I mean, I'm super healthy, no issues, so I don't know whether to pay cash when needed or get insurance. Or do I have to have insurance? Someone says you'll need catastrophe insurance, or you'll need ample credit on a credit card for emergencies. You will not be treated unless you can show proof of payment. I'm healthy too, but anything can happen. So again, you need to factor that in. Let's see here. Have you found readings from the same topic. Have you found with emergency insurance, the insurance companies pay on the spot so you don't get denied treatment? I've heard many times it can take upwards of a week for a claim to go through, and in the meantime, they don't treat you till you pay. We are not in a position to pay upfront loads of money, so wondering which health insurance companies are actually going to direct pay. We only want to get emergency insurance, and it's overwhelming trying to read all the fine print on all these providers. Uh, let's see. Someone else says, yes, this is my fear. Depending on the situation and severity, obviously, we would not have access to a large amount all at once. So I'm on the hunt for direct billing if it exists. Even if the insurance allows it, the hospital for the area you are living in might not accept it. Unfortunately, you would need a card for emergencies. If you use a private hospital, the costs are crazy. Can you blah 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 blah? So again, investigate. There are insurance companies here in Mexico where you can get insurance, or like they say, catastrophe insurance. Do your research. That's why it's important. Do your research, ask questions, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see here. If 1,200 is your total monthly expense, your options will be limited, especially if you do not speak Spanish. You might, in addition to San Miguel, look at Guanajuato, which has the same climate and has an economy less inflated by the gringo population because it is a major university town and lots of students living on lower incomes. I'm gonna put the name of the city that they said. Where is, just so y'all can see that. And I butchered it. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of discussions about that. Let's look at that. Yes, and quite close to San Miguel. This person says, I live in this city, Guanajuato City, on less than your budget. They say they live over there on less than $1,200 a month. I love it. It's really the Goldilocks city, expat friendly, really reasonably priced, dry and moderate climate. We just spent 10 days there. It's a nice place to live, I would think. The other person says beautiful. So another person talking, we lived in Baja Sur. Let me put that down. These are other cities that you can look into. Baja Sur. Again, do your research for 22 years, specifically Cabo and Todos Santos area, but much too hot and humid for far too many months. Since July 2019, we lived in the mountains surrounding Lake Chapala. It's wonderful and probably a lot more reasonable in price. Also, second best weather in the world, but lots of folks coming, so get here soon. We joined Jalisco Health, very inexpensive and quite thorough. It was mentioned below by someone to make sure you qualify to live here. There are residency requirements. And so somebody said visit. I don't even know how to say this. I'm gonna post it here. Visit this city. Chalchuites, Zacatecas, the forgotten part of the Central Highlands, and an average temperature between 35 to 90 dry degrees, and furnished luxury weekend and holiday home rentals from 2,500 pesos to 1,500 pesos, depending on size, and hundreds of miles of uninhabited mountains and very warm, welcoming population. There is not a quieter, cheaper place to live in Mexico, in my opinion. So he's saying you can find some rent for about 125 US dollars on up to about 750 US dollars per month. Another one says Oaxaca was very reasonable in my opinion. I saw lots of apartments listed for $300 to $500 in the city. Easy transportation and lots of food options. I'm gonna put that spelling there so you can see it. I don't know how they made this word sound like that, but it's pronounced Oaxaca. Oaxaca. um, Someone else says, yep, they agreed. Oaxaca, Puerto Escondido, and Mazunte. Those are my favorite places in Mexico. Of course, you can live in Mexico on $1,200 a month. Millions of Mexicans do. But then someone says, but unless you have $60,000 a year of income, you cannot qualify for residency. If you were making $60,000 per year, you would likely not need to live on $1,200 a month. Now, again, you definitely need to be checking your residency requirements. And there are multiple ways to get approved for residency. You don't necessarily have to be making $60,000 a year or $5,000 a month. There's some other alternatives. I would encourage you to speak with an immigration attorney to get advice. Let them tell you what your options are. Don't believe everything you read in the forums. Get legal advice when it comes to legal matters such as immigration. Like I say, there are workarounds. You may have a grandfather who was Mexican born. You may have a mother who was Mexican born. And again, not just that, if you've had multiple visits recently in the last several years to Mexico, there's other ways you can qualify without requiring income. So that's why it's very important that you do the work and talk. For the price, I'm talking maybe $50 for an immigration attorney here in Mexico to talk to them on the phone and speak English. Spend the best $50 you'll ever spend. So don't be trying to hold out and think you don't qualify because someone online said something. No, talk to the immigration attorney. It's their job to determine whether to give you the options and give you the workarounds and tell you how to do it. So again, somebody says again, first thing you need to do is find out if you qualify financially for residency. Yes, you can live in $1,200 in some places. Another person says, hey, here's a cheat code. Learn Spanish to at least intermediate level, then go live in a safe area with locals. You will meet so many Mexican friends. They would teach you everything. That's usually cheaper. And again, do you need to know Spanish 100%? No. Do you need to be at an intermediate level to move here? No. Do you need to be at a beginner level to move here? No. Now, knowing Spanish obviously would make your life so much easier, less stressful. Most of the people that come here don't speak a lick of Spanish. But when they get here, they go to Spanish schools and they learn. They take lessons. Now, ideally, if you could start picking up some words and learning some of the basics ahead of time, all the better. I got some stuff on my site to help you practice with the language learning if you want to. I know for me, when I first got here, they was just, listen, when you first get here, there's going to be common words that you're going to hear over and over and over again. And the sooner you learn them words, it's probably like 100 words. Learn them 100 words, and because you're going to hear them over, for example, bienvenido, you're going to hear that as soon as you step off the plane, which means welcome. Hasta luego. They say that when you leave, when you come in, let's say you go to the store and buy something and you pay and you say thank you, they say hasta luego. When you walk out get out your Uber, hasta luego. You get, which means see you later, literally. Um, you walk out the mall and there's a security guard there. Open the door, he'll say hasta luego. There's just certain words you're gonna hear over total bien, like in the restaurant, everything good, need anything else, total bien. Um, Mucho gusto, which means it's a pleasure to meet you. So when you shake somebody's hand, hey, my name is Carl, my name is Sandra, mucho gusto, and mucho gusto when you're leaving them. Just, hey, it was a pleasure meeting you. Donde está el baño? Where's the bathroom? Donde está? And once you learn the base, donde está el baño? Where's the bathroom? Donde está el restaurante? Donde está the bank? So you learn the basics, and when you get off the plane, it won't be so overwhelming, because when you get off that plane and step out there to that airport and you start looking for a taxi or Uber and get in the car, you're going to hear all these words, and they speak 100 miles an hour. Those apps you've been listening to and learning Spanish on ain't going to do you no good, because they're going to be speaking 100 miles an hour, and all them words going to be hitting you. So the sooner you can learn the core basics. Can you help me? How do I say, and you can point, como dice, how do I say, saying in Spanish, como se dice, como se dice, como se dice, how do I say cap? You know what I mean? So anyhow, take a look at that on the website. Let's see here. Someone said there's a Facebook page called something like On a Budget in Mexico. Look for it. Someone check into the regularization program to see if you qualify. We got some information on that on our site as well. Another person says the other option is city of this one. I said it earlier. This city, they say the other option is this city, which is 40 miles south of San Miguel. That's the second person that brings that up. So that's a good sign. Facebook, Nally Rangel on Facebook. She is always posting. Facebook, that's where the rentals are, and lots cheaper than San Miguel. San Miguel is flooded with big money from USA and Canada, and of course prices are higher, called supply and demand and economics 101. We built the house there on we don't need AC, we need blankets all year round. Someone said I have had a house in Baja for 30 years at a vacation home. After retirement, I would never move back. Check out Chapala. Someone says you can take a look at this city. I'm gonna put it in here. Let's type that in. This city here, look it up. They say it's very close to Querétaro. Weather is good, no heat or air needed here. The costs are still good and the rent is still good. Slowly people are moving here. Someone says, shh, don't tell anyone. Gringos have really changed life in Mexico. Was so good back in the day. San Miguel is very expensive. Most cities in Mexico are getting up there unless you live like a local. I'm looking for the same, and I like to fish. Learn Spanish before moving out of respect to locals. I do agree with that. Try and attempt to speak. Don't you walk up to folks and just instantly ask them, do you speak English? No, make an effort, try. And the more you try, the better you get, the more comfortable you get as well. Oaxaca has excellent weather. We are on the coast in Puerto Escondido, a little warmer and more tropical. I highly recommend it. Has anyone stayed in a furnished Airbnb for the first few months? Blah, 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 blah. Although Merida is hot, I've found community through my relationships with both locals and expats by joining meetup groups and socializing within my neighborhood. My Spanish is horrible, and I plan to improve through free language exchange and paid classes. My Social Security goes a long way here. I have temporary residency. So there are opportunities to meet up and do language exchange where you can work with someone who wants to learn English and practice their English, and you can learn and practice your Spanish. And most it's free. So you don't have to spend money. You know what I mean? So again, this idea of living here on 1,200 a month or 1,500 a month or 5,000 a month is very doable um, to do things. Looking at some more. Try Culiacan. I'm moving to Mexico also. I know the country quite well as I've traveled there since 18. I was so happy. You've ordered Sonia Diaz's book. It's worth the wait and go. Please feel free to contact me. 1,200 would work in, I'm going to put the name here in the comment, in the screen. Like that, just research these. And do your homework. So that's that with all the questions. So again, let's see, pin yourself to the screen. Hold on, let me stop. All right, so again, do your work. It's possible. You can do it. 1,200, very doable. I personally know folks living on 1,100, a couple, as a couple, husband and wife. It's very doable. They couldn't afford it in the States. They would be struggling. They wouldn't have any money left over, quality of life. I mean, again, you got people trying to decide whether they're going to buy medicine or buy food because the pensions are tight. You can have a quality of life here easily. You can do things, particularly in Merida. I'm talking about Merida because this is where I'm at. Been here going on 4 years in June. I can go to the beach. I can go fishing. Did that yesterday on a boat with a tour guide. They cut up my fish, or they clean my fish. We could take that fresh fish that we just caught off the water and walk down the road to a local restaurant near the beach, and they'll cook our catch for us. They'll cook it. You know what I'm saying? Where do they do that at in the States? You know what I mean? The guy where we went fishing, they fillet the fish, clean the fish, take the bones out the fish, all of that. You know, so kite surfing out here. Yeah, you go learn whatever you want. Want to learn pottery? Want to learn how to make bowls? Want to learn how to paint, oil paint, canvas painting? They got classes for everything. Want to learn how to fly a plane, race a car? You got everything, and it's affordable. Museums, theaters, musicals, orchestras, symphonies, zoos. You can go to the zoo for free. I might go down to the zoo in a day or two and show y'all the zoo. The zoo is free. It's free. They got a couple of zoos out here. They even got a safari out here. You got these pyramids. You got these cenotes. You got a whole life. You could make this retirement the best years ever of your life. You know what I'm saying? And I showed this before. Let me see if I can pull this up on the screen. Let me switch this here. Share. I've showed this before. They have these underwater caves here called cenotes. Look up the word C, and then Charlie, E, N like Nancy, O, T like Tom, E, S, cenotes. These are underground caves with this water rolling through. You can go swim in these. People go out here and take these Instagram pictures, um, and take Instagram pictures with these things, man. It's crazy. And it's like $2.50 to go to these watering holes. Is what I call it. You know what I mean? This is what you got access to. 30 minutes away from Merida, you can go to these and have the time of your life. How cool is this? They get loading up. Go swimming. Robert took some scuba diving lessons at one of these. And I mean, again, how cool is that? I mean, look at these folks out here. Look at that. That could be this could be your life. The best retirement ever. Now, like I say in all my other videos, it's going to take work. It's you're going to have to put in the turn, adjusting to the culture. It's going to require patience. It's going to require work, and but you can do it. You can do it. Listen, we just hit 25,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Help me out. Get the word out. Let people know they got options. Share this video, particularly with your friends who you know financially is having a difficult time trying to retire, raise their family, raise their children. They got a business that's making just a little bit of money, but it's enough to live on. It could be enough to live on here, and they can work the business full time. You know, you don't have to make as much when you come here. Visit our website, moveabroadandthrive.com. Get on our email list. Get a free primer on living and retiring to Mexico. We break it down. It's free to get on this email list here. Come here, fill this little box out, hit the free report button, and get on board. Yeah, get on the email list, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, become a subscriber so you can get this information so I can stay in your ear, stay in your face on how to make this transition. We've been here going on 4 years in June. We got courses here. If you're looking for remote work, there's an option up here for you to find some remote work. We have an academy so you can plan your stay, plan your visit, plan your retirement. You know, you don't want to just show up here and don't have a plan and don't have a clue. We even have a course on how to find rentals in Merida, and this will apply to Mexico in general. Get on the phone with us, hop on the phone, book a consultation, let's talk. And you get all this information at our website, moveabroadandthrive.com. Join our VIP and get access to me inside the group. You can ask me questions directly, whatever, and generally respond within 24 to 48 hours. I also have a law firm on retainer. They specialize in real estate law. They specialize in immigration law. If you're a VIP member, you can post your questions inside the group. I pass it on to the attorneys and they'll answer your question. So if you have a unique situation going on, hey, membership pays. It's very affordable. And so I'd encourage you to jump on board. So I'm going to shut it down. Make sure you subscribe. If our content is helpful, consider making a donation. Cash App's information is on the screen, or go to the website. Click on the link that says donate up here at the top. Moveabroadandthrive.com. Thank you for watching. Booyah.